I totally agree with you.
Okay.
However, and this is a rather large however,
Right.
okay? In the real world of education, where there are tenured faculty, and whether you're choosing or not choosing their course, they will make it fit for anything.
They will make it fit
Fit.
for
And
anything.
so in other words, oh yeah, my
I
course
see
will
what
do
you
that.
mean.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, my course will do
So
that.
they'll
And the
interpret it
reality
their
is,
own way.
you got it. And the reality is it really teaching what we needed to teach? Okay, and so you're right. In the real world of business, when we put together a training program or something like that, yes, that's
Yeah.
the way it's done.
Yeah.
Many times, if we're creating a new curriculum, we hope that that's what's being happened.
Yeah.
But I got news for you. As a faculty member, I can sit here and tell you my course is going to do just about anything.
Yeah.
In fact, if I ask my adjuncts across the board, because we did it, because that's when I knew I needed curricular design, I asked my group across the world, is this not working?
No, it is. When you have a minute, I was going to tell you what we're trying to
Okay. Hang on, let me finish this thought. I said to my faculty, so how many of you teach critical learning in your course? And of course, what do you think the answer was? 100% of them told me that they taught critical thinking in their course. And my conversation
But in their
is,
own way.
Right.
right.
Their own way.
And my conversation is, no, you didn't. You didn't teach all of critical thinking. You might have taught compare and contrast. You might have taught how to write a hypothesis or how to abstract or how to problem solve. But did you teach all of critical thinking? No, nobody really does that unless the course has really been designed and it's a critical thinking course. Get to their senior year and they have a capstone course that's also sponsored, say it's an English major,
Yeah.
that's also sponsored by English. They're not looking at, they definitely want better than what they did that English, but it's still an English course. It's just a 400 level English course.
Yeah.
But what's the difference between the two? And it's the Bloom's taxonomy, and it's the analysis and the justification and the things that I'm doing in it.
Yeah.
Well, I got to make sure that when I hire faculty for that, my entry level understands the level I want them at,
Yeah.
and my 400 level understands the level I want them at.
Okay.
Okay? But if the entry level isn't doing their job, 400 is going to have a really hard time. And if we don't build it along the way right, the 400 is never going to get there.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
And so it's overall, what do we want that outcome to look like? How well do we want the student to be able to write and to present? You know, one of the conversations I gave last time, and it's so doggone true with adults, is we make this assumption that because they're adults, they can stand up and give an oral presentation. And the reality is, as an adult, they either are a wonderful presenter or they're scared
Yeah.
stiff about presenting because they've never done it in the right way. And so in your curriculum, that's two different outcomes. I want them at this outcome. But if they come in and they're scared stiff, where am I giving them the extra credit or the extra time or the extra effort to be able to learn how to do that? Okay, and often in adult courses what we say, we don't have enough time in class. It's a 3-hour class. I got to get through the material. I only meet them every other week. It's online. How am I doing this? And yet in the reality is with the adults, we can have them videotape themselves, look at videos. We can do a lot of different things to help them improve those skills, but we got to build it in if that's what we want the outcome to be.
The undergraduate org leadership program is interdisciplinary, as Stan mentioned. There's sociology and there's psychology. And even the graduate programs, we cross-list the courses.
Right.
The other course, you know, for instance, an MBA course. Well, the MBA course presumably was developed and designed with outcomes that support the MBA program. So, and obviously when the program directors chose that MBA course for their own program, they gave some thought to how that relates to their program. But like, the outcomes are different, but the course has to be used for both. And
That's right.
And it seems to
Absolutely.
me, I'm wondering how deliberate that really is, that's on top of the other challenges, there's that one.
Yeah, and the more conversation you have about it, the more you end up doing it. And let me give you a good example, and I will mention this when we talk about mapping to some extent. In our organizational leadership and development course, what we focus on here are what we consider the core courses. So we took a look at all the courses, the 40 courses that you have for the curriculum, and we said, okay, we're not going to pay attention to Number one, I'm not going to manage 40 courses. None of you manage if it's an undergraduate curriculum 40 courses. I'm not going to look at that. There's free electives and there's all sorts of things and there's math, science, and that kind of thing. Some of those might go through general education, but in terms of organizational development and leadership, how many courses are there? And we had come up with, I think it's 8 or 9, that are really key to getting the students to where we want them to be. One of them was a psychology course. And we had industrial and organizational psychology. Makes great sense, right? It's the one we picked out of the catalog when we designed the curriculum. We all sat around a table. The industrial and org psychologist comes into the room to have this conversation about mapping the curriculum. Last one to go around, and he says, well, based on what you've all said, I don't know why I'm sitting here. I think this is a waste of time for your students to take my course. What I teach here is in that 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 course. You've embedded industrial and organizational psychology within your courses. But you know what you're missing is social psychology. I strongly recommend you have them take Psych 204 social psychology before you take any of yours. And I went, really? Really? Can we have a conversation about this? And guess what? We did. Okay, so yes, I mean, it's sometimes those kinds of conversations that help you go, right? And part of it is you don't want a faculty member to have to change necessarily what they're doing, but sometimes it's a tweak of an assignment, okay? Sometimes that's all it takes to meet more than one need, is that tweaking of an assignment, okay? All right. Good. All right, fair enough. So